Hello everyone and welcome to this week's episode of Spirit Talk, and here we are. It is a pleasure to be joined by David Traynor, Spiritual Medium. Thank you so much, David, for coming out this evening to be able to talk
You're
to us.
welcome, Jared. Nice to see you.
Yeah, thank you. So the point of Talking Spirit is to get everyone's experiences and to see, all the similar experiences everyone does tend to have, and learning things and learning new things, and it's a thing I'm really passionate about, and I'm really happy to get going. And if you do have any questions for those watching for David, I will get them up and I'll be able to ask him for you as well. So David, do you just want to give us a bit about your sort of background, if you don't mind?
Yeah. Well, I've been a medium since a child. My parents were undertakers, and I was always surrounded with the dead. And as a child, I used to talk to spirits, and I loved connecting to all that type of thing, the esoteric. And I used to have an imaginary friend like you do when you're a kid.
Yeah.
Well, I had more than one. I probably had more friends in the spirit than I had in the physical. And my parents, used to think I was different. Anyway, I went all through my childhood and schooling, being bullied and stuff, and then when I was 16, my dad wanted me to follow in his footsteps to be an undertaker. There was no chance about that one. So I became a hairdresser. I went to train and I met my wife. And I just said to her one day we were dating, and I just said, I can speak to the dead. She said, that doesn't surprise me at all. In fact, nothing you say surprises me. So that was a bit crazy, really. And then I just, from there, I just decided that I'd start to expand it a little bit more. And once a young girl who worked for us in one of our salons, she brought some tarot cards in, and I said I can read them, and I just read them for a customer, and she was blown away. Yeah. And I'd never done it, to be honest with you, in that way before. And I went for a reading. The salon got together, and they got this guy in one of their houses, and somebody dropped out, and they invited me to take the place. So I went, and I walked in, and he went, "What are you here for?" And I said, well, I'm here for a reading. He said, you already can do this so well. You don't need a reading from me. I should be getting one from you. And I'd never done anything about it. I just left it. And I just said, oh, well, I'll get a reading anyway. Get me a reading, which came to pass, all to be accurate, to be honest. And then we went to see Derek Akora, the late, great Derek Akora, who is obviously one of the most famous names in modern day spiritualism, with his Most Haunted and etc. And we went to see him at the Floral Hall. There was about 3,500, I think it holds that. There's a lot anyway, and I was sat right back. And he didn't know me from Adam, and he walked off the stage straight up to me in front of all those people, and he said, you're going to be on the stage, on the TV, and you're going to be doing mediumship. And he said, and so you should be, because you're very, very gifted. And at this time, I was kind of, whoa. I was with my best mate, Bazza, who does everything for me. And I was just like, everybody was like, whoa. I was like, whoa, I can't believe he said this to me. And from there, I went to the Spiritist Church, and I went to a guy called Joe Monroe, who again told me I was already developed as a medium. And I just stepped on platform and just did it. Mm-hmm. And I've done it for 26 years in the public eye ever since. And with success, really. Mm-hmm. I'm very, very lucky, really, in the way that I have been successful. I'm probably the most well-known unknown, to be honest. But yeah, that's a little potted history of it. And it is crazy. I still love it. I still have a passion for it. I love it when you get, as you will know, as a developing medium, you love it when you get things on the money and people go, wow, that's on the money, and that's a spirit talking to you. You get that buzz, don't you? Yeah. And I've really enjoyed it, and I've met some great people along the way. I've got a celebrity list which has built up over the years, massive celebrity list. I've got lots and lots of great friends who are mediums, and I was very lucky to be authored. I've got the books out, and yeah, and in 10 years ago, I represented the United States of America for all the mediumship
Oh wow.
all over the United States. I represented as the special guest to represent the anniversary of the Fox sisters and
Oh wow.
spiritual, which was really crazy. It felt a bit odd that me from the UK was representing all of
Yeah.
America.
Oh wow. So
So
how?
that kind of thing's what's gone on, really.
Yeah. So how did that come about with the Fox sisters?
It was just literally that I had people who I connected with when I went into America, when I was demonstrating America,
Mhm.
and I was demonstrating the Central on Broadway.
Oh wow.
And I had the privilege to also meet a guy called Joe Franklin,
Mhm.
who recently passed about 3 years ago. He owned the Comedy Club on Broadway and invited me to do work there, and as well. And I made lots of contacts, and lots of people in that zone were very impressed with what they saw. So I used to get invited there all the time,
Wow.
and I met William Shatner. I did a reading for William
Oh
Shatner,
wow.
and he was lovely. And I got invited on the William Shatner show, but that just at that moment, my mum took ill, so obviously some things are much more important, and I
Yeah.
had to deal with that. But that kind of thing has been like what's gone on, and then
Mhm.
I was on CBS there, and then I came home. I did a couple of stints on TV here,
Yeah.
and that's the potted history of it. Really, it's been like a little journey, I suppose. Well,
Yeah.
everybody's is a little journey, and yeah, that's what's gone on. Yeah,
Oh wow. So when you was doing in regards to the Fox sisters, which was it was the tap-ins, wasn't it, on the walls, which is what they become famous for, weren't it?
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. It was wonderful. What it is, it was the National Union of Spiritualism
Mm.
invited me, and I did it was like a 3 day event,
Mhm.
and we were demonstrating. It was amazing, lots and lots of people. It was quite
Yeah.
amazing, and they were lovely. Actually, they made me feel very welcome, and it was great. Actually, uh, yeah, it was really good, and we had fun, and it just completely blew people's mind when I was there doing the demonstration there, which I thought this was amazing. I went to a guy and I said, I'm with you, and I believe you've got a brother called John, and he's got a couple of St. Bernards. He said, actually, my brother John is babysitting my St. Bernards while I'm here.
Yeah.
I said, that's crazy. I said, I've got a gentleman coming forward who's telling me he's John. And he said, no, he's very much alive. So, of course, the golden rule with mediums is you don't shoot people to make it make sense.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
And I went into the interval. When I came back, sure enough, he died in the chair. The neighbour had gone in
Oh my
to
days.
give him a sandwich and a hot drink. And the St. Bernards were there, and he was just dead in the chair. He'd come through the demonstration. So that was wonderful validation, very sad, but wonderful
Yeah.
validation. Uh, yeah, when I look back, it's been a very, very startling career, really.
Mhm.
And I've been lucky enough to, as I say, meet with some celebs. I've got a wonderful friend in Rusty Lee. You know Rusty Lee
Okay.
off?
Yeah, I recognize. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I'm on with her at 8:30 this evening. We do a Facebook Live,
All
and
right.
that's
Okay.
so I'm really happy. We troggle along. I'm up and down everywhere doing my
Yeah.
demonstrations, getting great reviews still after
Oh,
all
brilliant.
those years.
Yeah.
I'm knocking on a bit now. I keep thinking, just stand aside and let some of these younger people have a good shot. But yeah, I'm really into it, and I really love it, and I like what I do, and I think that's the main thing, isn't it? If you like what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. So I want to go back to where it all started for you. You mentioned from being a child is where obviously your experiences started. And you mentioned about the the invisible friend or whatever you want to call it. So were they like early spirit guides for you? Was it that spirit world coming around you and saying, "Okay, this is a journey
I,
you're going to go
you
on"?
basically, I used to talk to this Welsh bell called Maria,
Okay.
which was something which I'd just picked up at my grandparents' house
Hmm.
when I used to go and visit. It was a little brass Welsh bell. And one day, my mum said, that Welsh bell was bought for your nana. And it was your nana's friend, Maria, who bought it. And
Yeah.
I'd been talking to it and called it Maria naturally and didn't even
Wow.
know. So that was nice. That was a bit of information. And then one night, I can remember I was asleep in bed, and our house was only small. It's not a big house. Our terraced house where I was brought up in,
Yeah.
and I opened my eyes, and as I opened my eyes, there was a man looking over me in my
Wow.
face, and I looked and I was like, but nothing was coming out. A bit like sleep apnea, really. A lot of
Yeah.
people get, but they didn't see the spirit. And then I blinked and he'd gone. I later come to understand that that was in fact my spirit guide,
Wow.
Jason, who I work with, and who is my main inspirer, who I work with.
Yeah.
And he's been absolutely instrumental in everything I've done, and he's been a wonderful inspiration to me and to the public.
Yeah.
And it's been absolutely incredible because when you're going along to places and night after night you're getting everything right.
Hmm.
He's such a good uh, worker. He's got so much insight into the humanity and human race and people, which is wonderful,
Yeah.
and it's lovely. It's a really great character. And then it happened to me again. Only this time, I was asleep, and all of a sudden I woke up, and I was and somebody's head was looking over me, and it
Wow.
was a guy with a curly wig on. And during the night, my father and his business partner had collected the body of a tennis player who had a curly wig on,
Wow.
and the wig had fell off.
Yeah.
And my dad said he nearly dropped the body because he was in shock because he thought his head had fallen off, but it was a
Yeah.
wig. And
Wow.
he'd come forward to me. So they're the early kind of things, but never scary. I'm
Yeah.
more frightened of things what people, physical people do than what the spirit world
Hmm.
does. But they're kind of my early kind of experiences, and
Yeah.
I definitely was different. Not, I definitely can see that I was different, and I could definitely look when I look back now. I can definitely see why people could either like me or dislike me
Right.
as well, because I could be, I had a part of me which really wasn't how I should be at that age,
Hmm.
really.
Yeah.
Not a hate or an evil thing, just something which was different, and that's basically uh, my very early experiences. I
Yeah.
was only a child, and it was crazy credible,
Wow.
really.
Yeah.
Wow, it was amazing. And then I just seemed to slip into that role. And Barry, my best mate, who you've just heard on tech there, he's just stepped out of the studio at the minute. He we've been best friends for many years, and he's managed me, and he does all the technical work and all the sites and everything. I mean, I'm the technophobe, and he's been absolutely just tremendous, and he has a full insight into what I do, and I've been very, very blessed in that way. So that's kind of what's gone on. Of course, then I did the My Psychic Life documentary, uh, which some people scathed me. What people said was, "Oh, you got really, really absolutely done over with the public," but that isn't true. What they didn't realize, it trended 4 times with 23.5 million people viewing, and I got like 700 negative comments. But it made every single national newspaper. It made loads and loads of sites. And you know what they say? Uh, it's no matter if it's negative or positive, press is press, and that's the end of it. So I was quizzing, I was made up because it put it back on everybody's lips, and all of a sudden everything went haywire because we were that inundated with people wanting us to do stuff for them. But there's only me, and I've never employed people to work for me. There's been me, Barry, Andrea, Brian, my publicist, and a few other people, but nothing ever major. I've kept it pretty low key, really.
Yeah, sorry, David. My daughter's just walked in. She can't open the door. Sorry, I do apologise. So I'm going to ask you this question. I'll let you answer this while I just sort the door out. I do apologise. So does it run in your family? Is anyone spiritual in your family or experiences?
I have a grandmother. You better let her out there. She's going to be really freaking. There you go, chicken. He's not kept the door shut. Watch your hand. Yeah, my grandmother was very, very spiritual.
Yeah.
And she was wonderful, actually, my grandmother, Margaret. She was very, very insightful, but so was my mother. But they never admit it. They were strong Catholics. They never admit it. But, as the vast amount of mediums are lapsed Catholics, because obviously it's a good introduction, Catholicism into spiritualism, because both connect with things that they don't see. And of course, in that situation, it brings forward, as you know, the word occultism. It doesn't mean negative. It just means believing in something you don't see. And it was one of those situations where they were intuitive, and I believe that's possibly where I've got it from. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you believe that it does run in the family, or there is a point within the family where it does come through?
I think it can run in your family, but I also think if you live in a household and you have a medium who is in the household, usually the house, because you're blending with other people's auric fields and other people's energy and vibration, I believe that the people in the household, their awareness raises slightly, so they come to understand you.
Yeah.
And you have a better understanding and relationship with them. Because what I always find, and just in my time of doing this, is that people who don't understand it, who go in a relationship that don't understand it, never kind of works completely. Because while spiritual people can be the best of people, they can also be very, very, very sensitive, and can actually cut themselves off because they can't cope with other people's kind of I'm going to say vibration, but it's not. It's other people's energies and other people's ways. You've got to be when you are a medium, you've got to have a strong command of your own demons.
Yeah.
I always think it's a situation which is called mastery in mediumship.
Okay.
When we talk about awareness, it's not the awareness of spirit, it's the awareness of oneself, mastering oneself, so one can cope without having the things that being a sensitive, having the negatives that becomes can affect you. As a sensitive, it's mastering oneself, being aware of oneself, because spirits are always there. They'll talk to you 24/7.
Yeah. So when you work yourself,
Yeah.
are you clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient? How does it work for yourself? Do you physically see spirit and hear?
From a child, all different. I see, hear, sense. I'm a transcendental medium, a
All
physical
right.
medium.
Okay.
I'm an automatic writer, a psychic artist.
Oh wow.
Um, so uh, basically, usually in the main, but there can be, as in everything in spirit and spiritualism, things can vary. I'll see a dead person, like I'm
Hmm.
seeing you now,
Yep.
and they'll uh, with the energy and what they say to me in my head voice, they will move me directly to a member of the public,
Right. Yeah.
which is usually there or thereabouts accurate.
Hmm.
So we'll blend our energies, me and that spirit, and in that blending of that energy, then they'll push forward and move me directly to the public member.
Yeah.
Then I'll see, describe, and give evidence, which the spirit will give me.
Hmm.
Usually, see, describe the spirit, and then give some evidence that's going on around the public. Now, I'm not really into memory links and all that. I think
Yeah.
in 2022 people have moved on from that, and as life moves on, so must mediumship move on, because it's always moving forward. And that's the way really I work. Then I'll draw their faces and give the public the picture, and in the main it's always usually thereabouts accurate.
Wow. That's amazing. We had a lady on a couple of weeks ago called Anne Furby from Oldham, and she does psychic art as well. And some of the drawings are absolutely fantastic. It's
Yeah.
so amazing, like how detailed people get with psychic art. And I'm not able to do it myself, but I went to see a medium at Spiritualist Church, and he did psychic art and drew at what we believe is my granddad's little brother. And I'm just like, wow, for it to be so detailed and accurate, it's unbelievable.
I usually, my psychic art usually rips off in 30 seconds to 45 seconds, fully complete, as I'm going along and working.
Wow. So when you're doing your sack art, is it the image is there in your mind, or is it just spirit takes all your hand and it's just boom?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's just literally psychic art. It
Wow.
it comes away from me like a etch a sketch, or like a photostat. And as I say, 30, depending if I have some chat in between,
Yeah.
30 to 45 seconds, the picture's
Wow.
complete. The person takes it completely.
That's amazing. One of the things you also mentioned, which is about trance and physical mediumship, which is
Yeah.
one of the things what's always really, really interested me. I've never been lucky enough to see it in person, but did it take you a long time to sit and get into that energy, or
No,
was it just natural with yourself?
correct. I was born a transcendental medium.
All right. Okay.
I what was really crazy. Sometimes I could sit in the chair. My family used to go mad because my face was changing.
Yeah.
Or I remember one night I was asleep,
Hmm.
and my mum said that I was talking in somebody else's voice.
Oh
I was
wow.
fast asleep, and then I always remember as well. I'd gone to we'd gone. I was reading a book called They Walk Amongst Us. It's a
Hmm.
fabulous book. Don't know if you've heard of it. You want to have a
No.
look. And They Walk Amongst Us. And I was in Paris with my wife, and I was reading the book, and I fell asleep, and she did. The lights were on,
Hmm.
and we'd fell asleep. We were in bed having a read before we went to sleep, and halfway through the night, the book fell on the floor, and we both opened. And as I opened my eyes, the full room, all the ectoplasm was coming from me,
Yeah.
and it was faces of the spirit in the
Wow.
ectoplasm. And my wife witnessed it as well, and it just went and straight back into me. Lovely clean room, else it could have been very dangerous. And I picked the book up, and it had fell open on the chapter, which I think is chapter 10. Could be wrong. I can't
Hmm.
remember now. Years ago. You are a physical medium.
Wow.
Isn't that creepy?
That's amazing. So,
Yeah.
so when you do the physical mediumship, so with the ectoplasm, what's the sensation like when it does happen?
It's just very cold.
Hmm.
I don't like to do it very often.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't do it as a public demonstration. I've once upon a time done a few public demonstrations trance,
Hmm.
but I don't think it's much call for in the UK. Have
Yeah.
done it, and I've done some physical mediumship. in closed uh, public circles, but
Yeah.
nothing that brings it to the public eye. It's a sensation of coldness.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Sometimes they'll put a mask on my face,
Okay.
and it feels itchy and cold, and everybody will see that, and then it'll just return back in.
Wow.
I mean, it's not something that I really. Uh, it's a really crazy thing, really. Even though I'm a medium and I've got all that kind of ability to do that,
Yeah.
it's not something that really I'm passionate about.
Okay.
That or particularly the trance
Mm.
and the healing are not really things that they're there. I can do them, but they're not really something that I can say, oh, I anchor after doing them all
Yeah.
the time. I'm quite traditional. I like to do straightforward platform work where I'm pulling people out of the audience and connecting and doing my psychic art. I like
Yeah.
doing my Facebook lives and having fun. I'm not really into the kind of the other bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
it sounds a bit crazy. We all have things what we like and we don't like. That's
Yeah.
just life, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
No, that's honestly that's phenomenal. So when you just going back a bit, when you got started and you started people obviously gaining knowing who you are, how did it build up for you when you started your work? Was it straight on the Spiritualist Church and on the platforms? Is that where it built up from?
Well, I'd gone along to a friend of mine, June Lynn,
Yeah.
who had told me to go to a guy called I forgot his name. Let me know. It's age that you see. You know, you have a bad memory when you're a medium. Mr. Rowe, and he was fabulous. And when I went there, he just told me that I was already, a fully developed medium.
Yeah.
And when somebody tells you that, you go, "All right, okay," but you
Mm-hmm.
don't really accept it because
Yeah.
mediumship, when you have a spiritual gift, it's not something you can truly put your finger on why.
Yeah.
It's just there.
Mm-hmm.
Get me? It's
Yeah.
just there, and people, and he just said to me, he advised me to go to this centre, and it was run by June Lynn and Charlie called Purple White.
Okay.
So I went along, and me and Bazza went along, Barry, my mate, and we stood at the back. It was full from front to back, and there was a medium on. And of course, then the first thing he did was he pointed me out. He said, "I'm coming to you, Spirit World, to tell me that you're going to be a huge success. You're going to be doing your own demonstrations, and
Mm-hmm.
you're on TV, and you're going to have a phenomenal amount of success here in the States." And he said, watch that space. Something that I felt, oh, they're just saying that. That's
Yeah.
how I dismissed it. But I met June, and June said, oh, it's nice to meet you. Jim has told me all about you, Jim
Yeah.
Rowe. Told me all about it. So, and actually, your friend Frances knows Jim very well. So she'll tell you what it was
Yeah.
like. And I went to the church for about a month or 6 weeks, and then she said, "Oh, I'm going to take you to see this phenomenal medium." So I said, "Okay," and I said, "What? Who is it?" She said, "Oh, it's a surprise." So she took me to this spiritual centre, which is Horwich Spiritualist Church,
Yeah.
which I think they're celebrating their 100th anniversary
Oh wow.
this year, I believe. Anyway, she we sat on the front row. It was full from front to back, and she said to me, "Oh," she said, "Oh, there's been a good turnout, hasn't there?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Who is this medium?" She said, "It's you." I went, having a laugh. I was out. My face was. I was like
Yeah.
bright. And she said, "Oh, I'll stand next to you for a bit." So she stood up, stood next to me. She did a message, and then I just did it.
Wow.
I never got anything wrong, and just did it.
Yeah.
And it just went from there. And I just in possibly maybe 18 months I was doing 166 to 180 spiritual churches
Wow.
a year, and I was growing and growing. Everywhere I went was selling out, and then my private situations, they were all selling and doing well. Not all the time. You
Yeah.
get times when you've gone along and like your turnout's been terrible, but it's nothing to do with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that people don't know you, and it takes time for people to know, understand, and trust you.
Yeah.
Really, you know. So I mean, I always remember going to Essex. Me and Bazza, 5 hours we drove. The
Wow.
demonstration, space had cost £1,000, and there was like about £500 of advertisements. And when we got there, 3 people turned up,
Wow.
and a lot of mediums wouldn't do that. So what I did was I just went on the stage, said, "There's just you three,"
Mm-hmm.
and then I stayed and I connected with them for. Well, to be honest with you, they were one family, and it turned out that their son had been killed in Afghanistan,
Yeah.
and I brought him through, and I
Oh
stayed
wow.
for about an hour and a half, and I talked to them, and I gave them messages from him, and they said, "We can't believe you've done that." I said, "Well, doesn't matter." She said, "I can't believe there's only 3 people here,"
Mm-hmm.
and I said it might as well be 1 million people because I'm a medium and I've come and been a medium.
Yeah.
That's what I do. So whilst I lost out financially, actually I gained spiritually,
Yeah.
and these things happen. When you see these people who are up there and they're in the public eye, they're all the time experiencing the same things. It's just that you don't see them.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think one of my things personally is it's just that confidence and that trust. I get a bit panic stricken sometimes. I think, and it's just like, and it's finding when you feel that the time is right. Because I'm like, do I wait for someone to tell me what's
What?
it work for yourself?
I'm going to tell you something, really, and honestly, the best advice I can give you is never do a platform without preparation.
Yeah.
Mediums who are professional prepare.
Hmm.
An unprepared medium does not respect their public. It becomes lip service.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So it's like a bit of baloney about nothing. You can always tell a medium who's not sat down and gone into the space for an hour before they go on that platform. It's the wrong thing. They should
Hmm.
go on. If you're serving the public, you've got to do your best by the public,
Yeah.
because they're the affected ones, not you.
Hmm.
You're the channel, and they're the people who need you. And your responsibility to the public is to prepare yourself before you do. And I actually, to be honest with you, when I do a demonstration like tonight, I've prepared before. I'm on with Rusty at eight
Yeah.
thirty. I've prepared before so that when I go on, I'll click channels and I'm straight on. You
Hmm.
see,
Yeah.
uh, a prepared medium's a good medium professional.
Hmm.
And then if you go on there and just be you, okay, as your higher self kicks in, as that spirit guide kicks in, as things start to be, and you just, because people don't want to see you fail, they want to see you win.
Yeah.
Promise. Or good, or no, people would want to see that.
Hmm.
Your confidence will just go shink, and it'll stop. It's just maybe because you I think before some meetings, before they go into the demonstration, they're filled with mind talk.
Yeah.
Do you get me?
Hmm. Yeah.
Will it work? Can I trust it? Is it going to be right?
Yeah.
Are they going to get annoyed with me? Are they going to get fed up with me? Do you get me?
Yeah. I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So what we do is we treat the mind talk, prepare, and trust,
Hmm.
and everything works out.
Yeah. Oh, thank you very much for that. I think it's, and I think as well. I guess it's the just putting yourself out there as well, because I think that's what stops you naturally. Because even in my normal job, it's it just your brain is like, because I'm a singer. That's what I do as my actual
Oh
job.
wow, I'm a singer.
Oh yeah, all right, okay. I've literally got a gig tonight. That's what I'm after the show, and it's the same thing. It's just about pushing yourself sometimes, and I can relate to that side of it. Because if you don't push yourself, you're not going to get anywhere. And
No, and absolutely. And don't forget, even through singing or anything you do on that stage or anything you do which is an expression, it's an expression of the spirit. It's
yeah,
just the same. Singing is just the same as being a medium
hmm,
or acting or painting, or it's just another expression of your spirit.
yeah. No, I like that. That's a good way of looking at it.
It is, yeah, it is an expression. It's an escape.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things I did want to cover today as well is about your book. So, Into the Light, your book is called. So, where did it come for you to become an author and release a book?
Okay. I've actually got two books out, and Into
Okay.
the Light is the third,
Yeah.
which is currently just getting ready to be published because it was held back with lockdown, you
Yeah.
see. Uh, so we've got Friends in High Places, which talks about my life. It's biographical. Then we've got A Bridge to Angels, which is all about people who I've sat for who's lost children.
Hmm.
And then there's Into the Light, which is all about the 9/11 when I went to the United States as a pilgrim,
Yeah.
not for money. So when I went over there, I used all my own money. I went as a pilgrim and helped through connecting with the spirit, people who'd lost people in the 9/11
Oh, wow.
crisis, because the governments at that time weren't really offering much of a service of
Hmm.
anything. So I went along and gave up a couple of weeks. It cost me a fortune, but that's by the by. It was an experience, and I did that, and I actually made a lot of lifelong friends
Hmm.
there, but also a lot of people who came along. At that time, there was in the state when we had the 9/11, a
Yeah.
lot of fake mediums jumped on the back of the situation
Right.
to coin in on it.
Hmm.
And I went along, and obviously, I wasn't charging a bean. I didn't ask for a penny. I used all my own money,
Hmm.
and I took two other people over there with me, and we went through and we did lots and lots of connections for people, not for money, just so that they could see that there aren't always fake mediums who coin in on that situation. There are people out there who genuinely can help, who
Yeah.
genuinely can use a genuine gift to bring about peace to people.
Hmm.
So Into the Light's about that experience,
Wow.
and I've not published it yet, and only because I say there was the lockdown. I finished it. My books are part of four books: Into the Light and Destiny of the Soul. Um, but they're all written there. I've just not had the chance yet to publish
Yeah.
them. I've got a lot of other things on, but they will be coming out.
Yeah. So, where can people find your books you have already released? Where's the best
Uh,
place to get them from?
Amazon, my
Hmm.
site, you can get them in, let me see, they're in most major bookshops,
Yeah.
really. The Waterstones have
All right.
them.
Okay.
You can order them at your local bookstore. That it was uh, they were really, really, really good sellers. And in fact, to be honest with you, they had to have a national reprint of the first two,
Yeah. Wow.
Friends of Grace and Bridge to Angels. Again, not many people realised that I'd done that, but I didn't have a ghostwriter. I literally wrote them.
Yeah. What was it that made you want to share your your books with everyone and your stories and experiences?
I think really because some people get me
Yeah.
and some people don't get me,
Okay.
and I think it's nice for so people can have an understanding who I am, how I
Hmm.
am, and why I am. You'll get a percent, and you'll find this on your journey. Trust me, you'll get a percentage of people who will not get you. They'll think you're some sort of fake or you're scamming for money or doing
Yeah.
this. But really and honestly, um, it took me many, many, many years before I even charged for mediumship. I used to be
Yeah.
going around churches and not wanting a cent, and then all of a sudden, I just got to the point where I was thinking, well, I have to pay for petrol, and I was
Mm.
losing time at work and stuff.
Yeah.
So I ended up having to cover the expenses and stuff. And then I just got to the point to say, well, it was a fair exchange of energy. So
Mm.
I just wanted people to see that, you know, you know who you really are,
Yeah.
how you really are, and why you really are. Not some sort of profile that somebody, because anybody can say anything about you, can't they? Can build up
Yeah.
anything, any profile about you, and people believe it.
Hmm.
And what they don't know about you, they just make up anyway.
Yeah.
But it's good to see that you have, you know, that people understand you as the person,
Yeah.
you know, and that's why I did it, really.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. It's still resonating with me when you're talking about the new book Into the Light about the 9/11 and the fact that you've gone over there. It's still it's hit me in a place, and it's what an amazing thing to do. And not like you said, not many people would do that. And to have that empathy and compassion for these people to take you to one time out and do that for them is absolutely phenomenal. So
Yeah, I just wanted to go away and do something for them. I was so moved by what went on, and it took away a piece of our freedom,
yeah.
which was quite sad, really.
Hmm.
You know, human beings can be, well, we're seeing it now, aren't we, in the Ukraine? Human
Yeah.
beings can be quite terrible, and I just wanted to do something nice
Yeah.
to go along and do something without gain,
Mm.
just to do something to say. My wife came with me and Barry came with me, and we went along, and we met some of the hard hit people who'd lost families, and we just dealt with them.
Yeah.
And it was just my way. It was, and there was only me, so I couldn't do lots, you
Mm.
know. But it was my way of doing something, of doing a little something,
Yeah.
you know, because I was quite saddened with the situation, as we all were on the
Yeah.
planet. It was a sad time.
Yeah. And I think as well, as many people I'm sure have been through it, who's watching and including ourselves, when you lose someone, especially in tragic circumstances, there's nothing worse. And sometimes, when we do get them chances and get that evidence, we need to show that our loved ones, they're perfectly fine now, they're happy, they're at peace. It just, it can make you then progress with your life because you can get in that place where you're stuck. And I've been through it myself, like, as I mentioned about my granddad being a medium. When he passed, that's when all the doubt come in. You're like, what happens if
Yeah,
that's it? And because he was the one who always had the answers, and then it wasn't until a few years having a few readings and getting that evidence and that belief comes again. And then, like, say, going on my journey now is like, yeah, I'm at peace now. With
yeah. Well, when my father died, I watched him step out of his skin.
wow,
I was at the side, and I was emotional, but
mm-hmm.
I watched him step out of his skin, and then I communicated with him. And then my mum, 2 years on Easter Sunday, my wife was feeding her a sandwich. She lived with us, my mum. We took care of her for 14 years. She
Yeah,
couldn't walk or talk. My mum, she had a very severe dementia. She
ouch,
couldn't walk or talk, and she just died in front of us while she
yeah,
was just getting a sandwich. She just thought she was dead. So we lay her body on the floor, and I came in this room here
mm-hmm.
and connected straight to her. And told her to go to my dad, watched her move out of the skin, spoke
Wow,
to her, and I've never lost contact with her.
that's beautiful.
Isn't it? So that's
Yeah,
fantastic. And you know, when you say about doing nice things for people who've lost,
mm-hmm.
you know, the sad thing is in the world that we live in that everybody views when you do something for somebody that it's some reasoning for you.
Yeah,
Find that a vast amount of mediums, that's exactly everything that they're not.
mm-hmm.
Because when I did the 9/11, there was people who put put things out saying, "Oh, he's making tons on this," and I never made a penny. I wish I'd never
Yeah,
made a penny. It's not something that I would have wanted to make money
yeah,
out of. And it's the same. I wrote a song. There was a lovely young girl. She was killed in a hit and run called Violet Elizabeth. She was a beautiful child,
mm-hmm.
and she was in a hit and run, and her parents kept her alive for a week, but obviously she was on a life support machine. But they
Yeah,
donated her organs so other little people could live. And I wrote a song called "Fields of Violets," and I put it out on the internet to try and raise some money. But I got slated for that. But I gave the song to them. They were very moved and very touched. They were
Yeah.
very beautiful people. And in actual fact, to be honest with you, I was very in awe of what they did,
Hmm.
because it takes some sort of person to do that after going through that tragedy.
Yeah.
And again, there was no gain, nothing. I just
Hmm.
did it for them because I wanted to. I was so in awe of what they did.
Yeah.
But these things, this is the public at large, and this is the sadness that we have in the world. But we have to keep positive, and we
Oh,
have to
absolutely.
pound through it and be the true us.
Absolutely. We do have a question here from Jolene, and she's asked, "What is the most memorable reading you have done?"
Oh, I've had so many, Jolene. I've had so many. I've done. I did a reading in talk about the 9/11. I did a reading for a guy who was tortured. He'd gone into the second tower, and he'd gone in with his brother-in-law. And as he went in, he just knew something was happening, so he ran back out. And as he ran back out, it collapsed and it crushed his brother-in-law to water. And the only way that they could distinguish him was through his fingernail with his DNA.
Oh, dear.
And I stood in front of him, and he was banging his head in the wall when we got to America. He was banging his head in the wall, ready to kill me, because I was this medium who was faking and all this, and he was really, really up the wall.
Mm.
So we sat him down, we calmed him down, and then we connected to his brother-in-law, who in fact was his lifelong best friend,
Yeah.
brought him through. We did a direct voice so we could hear his voice.
Wow.
He drew him everything, and he just changed his mind like that. And he wrote a very lovely piece, which is going to go in that book, and it was how it repaired him
Hmm.
instantly,
Yeah.
that he'll never forget what happened, and he'll be always very, very upset, but he can cope with it
Yeah.
because he knew that his brother-in-law, his best friend, had moved to another space and was fine. And that's one of many. Another one I did, which is in my Bridge to Angels, was I was sat in my conservatory, and a lady come in and she sat down, and I was doing a one-to-one for her, and all of a sudden the conservatory just steamed over in the window, and in the steam it wrote Tiny. And I just said to her, "Who's Tiny?" She said, "That's my son." I said, "Was he killed on his birthday, there or thereabouts?" She said, "That's exactly right." She turned around and there was his name in the print on the window. Lots of, I have so many, really. I could write several books if I had the time.
Yeah. What an amazing. Honestly, I could talk to you for hours just because all these experiences. Honestly, it's that thing and you never stop learning. So obviously we're going to sort of come to the end now because obviously I know you have to move on. So thank you so much for taking your time out and sharing your experiences and your life story with us. So if people want to book you for private readings or come to see you on tour, could you give us your website or where they can find you? I know on Facebook as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, I'm Psychic and Spirit Medium David Traynor. All the events are on Facebook,
Yeah,
or you can go to www.davidtraynor.com. You private message into the Facebook if you want one-to-one seatings with me. I don't do it any other way. I do it over the platform, Zoom, Skype,
yeah,
WhatsApp. The seatings are booked by an individual, so I'm not privy to who you are. So you can book under a fake name; it doesn't matter.
yeah,
I'm not privy. I just get you're just a inanimate individual,
mhm,
and they're very, very reasonable. I don't charge a great deal, even in all the years of my experience. I'm really not an expensive medium, because I
yeah,
think I think really you've also got to be a man for all people, you know,
yeah,
and that's something what is important. You've got to try and be there for something for everyone.
mhm,
That's why we do the lives, for people who can't afford or can't get out to a
Yeah.
demonstration. And we also do, we do lots, we demonstrate all over the country. They've just come back from a very successful tour in Scotland,
Yeah.
and great. Yeah,
Oh,
it
that's
was.
awesome. Also, I believe you run a development and awareness class as well.
Yes, we do a 10 weeks course called First Connection. We was actually going to start First Connection, but we haven't had a great uptake on it this time. But I think everybody's struggling and a little bit cautious with the money at the moment, and I get that. So we're going to still put it out there, but what we're going to do is we're just going to put it back a little bit to see. We need you see, it's pointless running a course for just two people, because when you develop, you need other people to be able to bounce off, to connect with, and go through
Yeah.
the experience. But it's an industry professional course. I've run it for 16 years. I've done it with people, and some of the really good mediums that are out there have actually come through my First Connections course and my
Yeah.
Stepping Up. And
Oh, wow.
yeah. So it's been good. I've done lots of other courses as well. I do uh, some courses to do with different cultures and different
Mm-hmm.
religions. In Search of Wakantanka, which is about North American Indians and tribes, different cultures there, and your guides and your inspirers. Do another course guide. I do Stillness Speaks, another course. Lots,
Yeah.
lots. Stillness Speaks is the life and times of Eckhart Tolle, the modern day mystic. I've done lots, honestly,
Yeah.
really.
There's
You
some
know,
absolutely lovely comments coming through. People who've been on your courses as well and saying how fantastic they are and how what an
wow.
amazing time they've had. So it all speaks for itself.
Well, I try. The only thing is, when you come on the course, don't expect it to be an hour, because I like everybody. I like everybody to have a good sound knowledge, so that when they walk away, they know exactly what they're doing
Yeah.
in a great way. And actually, that makes me feel happy.
Yeah.
If they've done well, or they aspire to do well, and a lot of them are doing well out there.
Yeah.
Makes me feel happy, because I think, wow, that was something that I was able to help them through with, and they're great. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
amazing. So, David, again, thank you so much for taking your time out and coming on the show this evening. Really, really much appreciated. And to everyone for all the love arts, likes, and comments and the shares, thank you so much. We really, really do appreciate it. So, enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy your next live, David. And we'll see you all next week for the next episode of Talking Spirit. Thank you so much,
Thank you very
David.
much. All right then. Take care, Jared. Bye bye.
Cheers.